Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, where I'm always excited to introduce the most Terran player. The former world champion in the top right in the blue. It's Mike Fro Jackson. It's ByuN. And the definite underdog in this fight, but making a name for himself lately, the red Protoss player, Nightmare. A best of 3 TVP. The most headstrong Terran against, well, honestly, a bit of a mixed bag of Protoss. I know Nightmare as one of those more creative Protoss cheesers, but you know, that might just be a bias towards Protoss itself. The one thing I am biased towards, that I'll admit to readily and happily even, is a bias towards making your day a little bit better. So if you enjoy, it'd be awesome if you could like, and if you haven't made it there yet, subscribe. Or wait, you know what? Wait till the end. And Jimmy! Yeah, he lost an SCV to an adept. No, he's not washed up. 1,212 likes on this video, on this cast, on this increasingly aggressive early game. And they'll cast another series. I'll probably do it anyways, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. The dance of death here just barely gets out. Let's tally it up. 2 adepts for 3 marines and 2 SCVs. He did delay the command center, so that is not nothing. Though overall, I wouldn't necessarily call it a game changer. Nightmare opting for Blink, Robo, and it's going to be 3 gates in total, so the most cookie cutter standard. He did Reaper Wall and then some. ByuN circumvented it by simply not building a Reaper. Does he know about the Reaper Wall? No, he has not scouted. He's just sending these units across the map because that's how ByuN do. Medevac headed across. It's got a Widow Mine and 6 Marines tucked inside. And any of those is potentially deadly in the hands of this Terran. The scouting Hellion, more like a distracting Hellion at this time. Nightmare has blocked everything out for now. ByuN does not have a 3rd command center on the way, instead opting for another barracks. And a Raven is now completed. ByuN, he didn't even see there was a Reaper Wall there. Didn't go across the map. Not worried too much about what Nightmare is doing, as long as he doesn't have a 3rd base, I guess, is the more relevant part. Because if there are 4 gateways and
additional
no 3rd, oh, Blink's coming. And I think a great move by ByuN to just pull back and defend. As realizing the worst thing that could happen is losing that critical mass of bio units. That amount of units you need to defend against the initial Blink Stalkers. Not really a critical mass, just a bare bones defense, really, to protect your siege tanks. Especially until the barracks come online, you get stim, you get something a little more than a handful of marines, but eats a direct hit. Shield stripped away of a lot of those stalkers. Auto turret attempted. ByuN came in with a Raven, but Nightmare just slapped it out of the sky. No damage at all, not even on the auto turret. Quite an investment, just shot down. So ByuN now 100% on the back foot. Stalkers juggling back in and out of the War Prism. There's not much ByuN can do about this, besides send his Marines forward and hope he has enough to survive it. Another Blink Stalker attack at the natural. And ByuN starting to take some damage here. Siege tank, ooh, hits one of the Stalkers. He's barely out of range of the tank. Just edging, if you would. I wouldn't. But, you know, to each their own. Staying right... Ooh, maybe a little bit too close. Blinks out, though, smoothly. And another siege tank blinks away before the 2nd siege tank hit. So overall, Nightmare just fraying the edges of ByuN's base. He's got Storm on the way behind. More Marines going to be targeted. Some very cute micro, but ByuN has not lost very many SCVs at all. 4 in total this game, and 2 of them were from the early aggression. So ByuN, the one thing he almost certainly won't expect is Storm to be done. Yeah. Storm is now over halfway there before ByuN has moved out with any of his medevacs. So that means a Storm, well, fighting against the Storm is very difficult. You need ideally foxes, harpies. Different game. No ghosts on the field. Only one none Widow Mines. The Widow Mine went down at some point. He had it with the medevac earlier. A single medevac already badly bruised heading in towards the natural, but Nightmare didn't spot it. And that means the Marines will get at least a couple probe kills. No combat shield on the way for ByuN. Trying to drag him out of position. The Templar should be spotted here. Gonna target down a few. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, he gets away with big game. All he needs is, oh, he's super dead. He got saved. It bought him another 2 seconds. Coming across the map, but ByuN decides to pull back yet again. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no, the Observer. There were only 4 Marines there to deal with it. No combat shield is a significant mistake here from ByuN. 10 HP across the board in the Marines when you're facing something like Storm is a sizable number. Yeah, most of his army is Marauders. And wow, Nightmare has a lot of gateway units down here. He's got 16 Zealots and 13 Stalkers. No upgrades at the moment. Widow Mine's on the front line, but Nightmare using this map control. Honestly, right now, Nightmare's the more confident player. ByuN with some half-hearted attempts to get damage done on the other side, but now he's bottled up on 2 base against a Protoss who, I mean, look at that vision. He knows the map is dark and full of Terran, so he's decided to lock it down. All he needs is something over on that right side. Ideally gonna smash the 3rd orbital and any SCVs nearby, but the Templar unleashes the storms. Now combat shield is on the way. A few SCVs going to be taken out, straying within range of those siege tanks. Got to be careful not to be backed into a corner against the mineral wall. All right. Templar in the prism, waiting for their opportunity. One good storm, but that doesn't break the Terran army, especially when medevacs are involved. Nightmare got to be careful not to overstay his welcome. A couple ghosts on the field now. And with those ghosts involved, things get a little more complicated for Nightmare. A scan looking for Observer, spots it. Templar wanders forward. One Marine suffers the consequences. The rest, everyone gonna be healed up. Colossi are on the way. Nightmare, 3rd base online. Main base, I do love the layout of his buildings as well. He's done a great job in kind of decentralizing his production, which is something a lot of Protoss players fall prey to later on. A lot of the tech is in different bases where 2 or 3 medevacs won't necessarily take it out immediately. All right, some pre-MPs there, just trying to EMP. If he knocks down the prism, well, then he doesn't need to worry about anything coming out, but if you just continually EMP in the general vicinity, it's not unlikely you'll hit something important. Widow Mines. Nightmare. Still maintaining. He's only got 60 probes, actually. He has 4 bases. He's trying to maximize most of those probes mining gas. Well, not most, but overall. Very much focused on getting gas here. Yeah, he's got 5 gas and the rich Vespine, so effectively 7 gas geysers right now. Can get a lot of tech. Widow Mine sacrifices the Zealots, but that prism. Ooh. The ghost count is rising here, and ghosts can survive a storm, even if they eat the entire thing, so things are getting more and more dicey. The Colossi are kind of required. A storm feedbacks a ghost, getting what he can. But ByuN just holding the line. It seems like he's content to sit back until he's got his 2-2 upgrades, essentially maxing out. Relying on the Terran Death Ball to be stronger than the Protoss one, which, contrary to common wisdom, it usually is at this level. And that is part of why Nightmare, I think, has so few probes, is to maximize his army supply. He's realizing that ByuN is just gonna turtle it up. He's got siege tanks along the ledge here. going for a 4th command center. Nightmare adding on not 1, not 2, but 3 more Stargates. Stargate command at the back of the natural. Escalating things to the skies. Starport on the way for ByuN. All right. A high risk, high reward sort of game here. We've got +1 air weapons and DT blink. Nightmare not committing many of his forces. Continually waiting to see if ByuN will move out. And ByuN, I think, understanding that if he does move out, Nightmare might have enough to just crush him. So sitting back behind his defenses, effectively turtling. And we'll deal with much of this. A scan, just looking for an army on the other side, I guess. Wanting to make sure he can potentially pursue that observer in a key location. Still 2 Templar in the Prism. Fleet Beacon is on the way. But not sure. Will he go straight to carriers, or are we going to see some Tempest? There's no Liberators for ByuN. Not a single Liberator. Still a huge bio army. Lower tech armies in general on both sides. A lot of Vikings are in production. Chew Toy Depot serving its purpose. ByuN putting it right on the edge of the sensor tower range. Speaking of, dodges an EMP. It's technically a projectile. Fun fact. It just hits so quickly that it's essentially impossible to dodge actively. Oh no, but wait. Wait, did he scan the... He's just assuming. Well, you know... I'm gonna go ahead. Here comes... Fusion Core! Fleet Beacon versus Fusion Core. And I think this is for Battlecruisers. Why? He hasn't made a single Liberator. Even though he does have the double reactor and starports, we're gonna have to see as things escalate about as much as they possibly could up the tech tree here. 10 cannons for Nightmare. ByuN, we'll see momentarily. He doesn't have any tech lab starports, so I might be jumping the gun on that, but 3 carriers in production, 4 command centers for ByuN. Nightmare not pressing the issue, not willing. This isn't Hearthstone versus Clem, alright? This is Nightmare versus ByuN. And instead of throwing endless armies, it is advanced ballistics. Did he spot the carrier with the scan? Well, might as well get it. It's not like he can build anything. He's maxed out 200 supply for ByuN. Scans across the board. I mean, he only has 3 orbitals, but that number is going to grow dramatically, I think. Nightmare still only has 64 probes. He is... that's not a mistake. That is Nightmare maximizing his army supply as much as he can, while still having something that resembles a decent economy. Vikings hit the deck to deal with Zealots, not exactly a perfect counter. Nightmare still waiting for an opportunity, but ByuN has not offered up a strong enough target yet. Looking for it with the Templar. EMPs, a rock in a hard place for Nightmare. Yeah, a few of the ghosts died to the Colossi, but I think Nightmare took the brunt of that blow. 5 command centers at a time now. Simultaneous. A little on the ridiculous side. The carriers are retreating, joining up with more reinforcements. Nightmare just freed up supply for carriers, as he's gotten a 5th and a 6th base. More scans to deal with potential observers. We'll have to see how much Nightmare commits with these initial carriers. Caduceus reactor on the way. No Yamato cannon queued up after it, but he got a 2nd armor here. Mass Liberator. The carriers have been spotted. He's going Liberators. I think he wants to wipe out the interceptors with Liberators. That is a crazy... now he has 7 orbitals, so you can essentially just scan... yep, well, 1, 2, 3 scans. You have the energy to scan essentially permanently. You just got to decide where it goes. Or in waves, whichever one floats your particular boat. Speaking of floating boats, the carrier count now at 9. I don't know if ByuN continually scanning for observers, and that observer almost walks into it. A nuclear missile is in production. But the army somehow managed to circumvent ByuN. ByuN is so far up to the north. God, the wall of cannons with a Templar behind it. Nightmare with quite a setup there. EMPs. The carrier count. How many interceptors in total? 69. Nice. The Templar still hidden in the prism. Well, I'm sure they're suspected by ByuN, but that is so many carriers here. And there's just not enough anti-air to deal with it. He's going to need to bring in the fleet. In this case, it's going to be Vikings and Liberators. ByuN really just doesn't have that much anti-air here to deal with it. +3 about... Now in production in the air, +3 armor for Nightmare. 3-3 done for ByuN, who's also finished high-sec auto-tracking and is working on building armor. So, we're just about maxing things out before even really a decisive engagement. Definitely not a war of attrition. They're both going to be banking up a lot of money here. As Nightmare has most of his half the map. The only thing he's missing is the gold base down the center, the closest to ByuN. EMP, the Templar, which has so carefully kept those, the prison, it just died. It died, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Immediately shot out of the sky. But the carrier's trying to get some vengeance here. The overlapping Venn diagram of freedom, just obliterating the stalkers on the ground. But the carriers will survive. God, what an anticlimactic end. Just shot out of the sky right off the bat out of that engagement. The storms are not going to be it. Nightmare has 6 observers here. Constantly scattered throughout the map. ByuN, on the other hand, has 9 orbitals. So that also serves a similar purpose. Another observer. Just, well, does he have him on patrol? No, he's just microing him by. Seems to be consistently spotted. The DTs. Oh, ByuN not reacting, going for the repair. It's too late. The DTs take it out. Meanwhile, Nightmare jumping at the planetary. Wombo combo hits him with both sides. And Nightmare takes out 2 key bases simultaneously. ByuN not reacting quick enough on either front. The DTs are still slicing through. He may be able to delay yet another command center. Takes it out. There is a turret over there. Observers actually found their way behind the turret line. So ByuN doesn't realize how much of it has been spotted. Beautifully done. The Eye of Nightmare here. Just near perfect vision of where ByuN's reinforcements are. Wow, that's a clever way to do it. A lot of micro paid to it. Found some storms. Looks like there's a couple more Templar underneath. Looking for another one. Softens up some of the... Well, okay, he didn't do much. That one was better. A volley of scans. All right. Costco Express checkout over here. Where's your barcodes? I left them over there on the ladder. Are you gonna go get... Liberators heading out. This is... If Hearthstone versus Clem was a war of attrition, it feels a lot more like chess. Because they can both build whatever pieces they like. And they have the money to rebuild them if needed. But they're building these idealized armies. 69 SCVs. Vikings nearly taking out a carrier. Just some pre-MPs there. Carrier knocked out of the sky. He has 13 Vikings with +3 ship weapons and about to be +2 plating. The carriers, though, finally get their air armor. +2 shields is done. Liberators covering all the entrances here. Enough to essentially invalidate the ground army. Having 3 or 4 +3 Liberators means that it's very unlikely anything on the ground will survive for more than a few seconds. All of the bases. Save for, well, ByuN actually not taking those side bases yet. Nightmare. So patient here. ByuN 9 orbitals, 2 more command centers on the way. He's going to have somewhere between 15 and 20 command centers. Which just seems a bit gratuitous. He's like, I can't scan the entire map at the same time. So therefore, I need more command centers. The Zealots take out a sensor tower. I can't tell if he's actually looking to get anything done. Getting the sensor tower is a win, but... oh my god, it's like a tower defense game. It is a tower defense game. What am I saying? Liberators? Planetary fortress. Wait, does he have a planetary? It's over here. Turrets everywhere. The TPM is skyrocketing, just like the skyrockets can knock the interceptors out of the sky, especially with high-sec auto-tracking. Oh my god, which is when they replaced the dude with, do you see the little seat? There's no one. Wait, is there someone in it? He has high-sec auto-tracking. I thought it was supposed to replace the dude with automation. Oh, but it looks like there's someone in there. It's hard to tell. It used to, I don't know, maybe it's a different skin. I don't know why this is so important. Anyways, there's still somehow an observer behind ByuN's lines, but eventually, if he crisscrosses the entire map with, Tempest! A new unit! And the Vikings, historically vulnerable to Storm, also vulnerable here. The ghosts, single ghost cloaks. The Zealots trying to make their way through the streets of ByuN's base. Just like an entire factory, well, starport complex. The choke point in the center, there's the only Widow Mine there. The Tempest do have +3. I'm not sure how many shots it takes to take out a +2 plating Liberator with Tempest. But I think we're about to find out. Knocking down, ooh. No, takes out another one. And the Widow Mine triggers onto the Vikings. No one is coming through on the ground here. That ain't happening. The Liberators are edging forward, but Nightmare has plenty of money in the bank. This is the kind of economy you need to support carriers. 7,500 minerals in the bank. A disruptor chipping away. The set pieces are starting to crumble. +3 plating. We're essentially maxed out on upgrades here. Just need +3 armor. Another storm traded away. Tectonic destabilizers. Bonus building damage should be done. Stalkers get behind the Liberators. Take another one out. Both sides trading blows from maximum distance with the longest range units in the arsenal here. Tempest. Oh, Tectonic destabilized. Now finished. Liberators not covering quite enough, and more of the Vikings getting chipped away. Nightmare's playing with a absolute unprecedented amount of patience. The Oracle knocked down, no revelation. EMPs a little bit late. It's Hogwarts over here with this much spell casting. Just throwing everything. We got stasis. He attempted the revelation. There is one more. Oracle. Revelation will be incredibly helpful for these Tempests, which don't have nearly the vision in order to track down those units. Oh, here he goes. ByuN thinking about actually moving forward, making real progress. But Nightmare has over 9,000 minerals. His army costs nearly that much, yes, but about 12K. Ugh, the Viking count, so damn high. But more and more are being stormed away. ByuN doesn't have that much money in the bank. Nightmare has taken ByuN's base. Nightmare's taking ByuN's base in the northern, whatever, that 12 o'clock. 11:30. A late brunch. Not... Nightmare is taking the lucrative... Well, it doesn't actually have more gas. It actually has less gas than the Rich Vespine, but I digress. Another carrier knocked down. But so far, ByuN has started losing more and more minerals, and minerals it feels like he needs. The DT is gonna force the Bio Army back. That one observer. I really love what Nightmare's doing with the observers. But the turrets! Mass turret! The TPM, 44! Oh my god. And he's lost 23 of them, which puts him at almost 3 turrets per minute. Bronze League heroes don't even approach. Bronze League heroes don't mine or build enough missile turrets or minerals in order to accomplish such professional levels of turret defense. The TPM, ByuN may have hit a new record here, especially for a game of this length. And girth, important to note. It's spanning the entire map right now as we continue to exchange fire. Alright, battles it back. Stalker. The Stalker count has grown again. He's got 16 Stalkers to help zone out. Liberators moving forward. Vikings trying to use them for cover. Knocks down another carrier. ByuN starting to build a bank. But the fact that Nightmare might be mining in that northern base, the Liberators, their overlapping fields of fire, are covering these gold bases. The Vikings in autumn colors. Gonna need some SCVs for auto repair here. Those Vikings getting pretty softened up. Oracle. One-time use. How many intercept? What, the probes? Can't tell if he's sacrificing or a very unfortunate transfer. Double EMP. Only 100 interceptors, which seems low. That one Ruptor waiting for the money shot. If he just happens to get the right amount. If he gets the ghosts, like if he gets 10 ghosts with a disruptor shot, it's worth it. But the turret count. Oh my god. The DTs. And a Nightmare is mining from ByuN's side of the map. EMP. Oh my god, most of the DTs die. He uses a recall to get... Oh my... Still in the neighborhood here. Does he see the DTs? He didn't notice. The DTs... Awkwardly, there's nothing to save the turrets from the DTs. Things are starting to fall apart here for both sides. It's unclear who this favors. The DTs... Well, Vikings on deck. The main army... Well, it gets the Nexus. But... You gotta be very careful not to lose more than the worth of that Nexus. Nightmare can build a few dozen more Nexi. Right now, ByuN has 11 orbital commands. The DTs find the mid-map planetary. He's gutting the turrets. The precious turrets. Won't any... 4 Battlecruisers. But the defenses are crumbling. ByuN, he scans the north and realizes he should have at least had a Liberator or something up there the whole time. There's not that... Is he really reaching into his pocket and pulling out the most expensive unit Terran can build as the last resort? Nightmare already has Tempest, and more importantly, he has Patience. That is the greatest asset. And the thing is, the Battlecruisers are coming out after mining has been completed, which is a weird thing to say, but there really aren't that many mineral patches left. Well, Nightmare has barely had any probes. He actually still has a lot of mining to do. The Vikings are kiting back, but the defenses... ByuN abandoned his position in the center of the map, and Nightmare cleaned it up pretty quickly. Nightmare has been handling this. I don't think I've seen a player who seems more comfortable in the extreme late game of this matchup, which has been notoriously difficult for Protoss. No, my Diamond Terran friends, not you on the ladder when they just storm and disrupt her. But against someone like Clem, or ByuN, or Cure, or Maru, who just knows how to use their Ghosts and Vikings, or what have you, it makes it very difficult for Protoss to really win a war of attrition. But here, Nightmare has more than enough money in the bank. The Battlecruisers have arrived. Orbitals are burning. That's gonna put him down to just 10 if that orbital burns. He's using the Battlecruisers to just strafe the base and maybe tactical jump back for repair if he needs it. But the battle has shifted from the center of the map over towards the sides as we've split again. Blizzard, I know this game is epic, but this is a replay. Don't tell people that. Alright. Well, Blizzard may not survive this battle, but that wouldn't be the first loss they've taken lately. The Battlecruisers. A disconnect from the rest of the army. Jump back to deal with the DTs. The SCVs caught in transit as well. Battlecruisers as an anti-harass unit, I mean, pretty good. But now we have more Tempests on the way. The Tempest count... The Battlecruisers have Yamato, of course. But if the Tempest count is high enough, and right now the Battlecruiser count isn't at that, you know, overwhelming, unstoppable level. ByuN still has money in the bank, but Nightmare has so much more. The SCV's trying to repair the Battlecruisers, but the Battlecruisers don't seem to care. Looks like they're ready to take out this Nexus. Recall is off cooldown, but good luck. We're setting up again. A few more turrets. A pale shade of how many we once had. Still 30 on the field. He's lost 50. It may very well be 100 by the end. The Tempest count. 10 Tempests. And only 3 carriers left. Nightmare has transitioned in almost purely Tempest, which are a lot easier to maintain, as they don't, well... A lot of the times we see Protoss players going carriers with 1,000, 2,000 minerals. No, this is one-shotting Battlecruisers level of Tempest. I think that's enough. Tempests right here. Well, we'll see, I'm sure. They're gonna get an opportunity. The trades continue. Yamato Cannon is online. Tectonic destabilizers allow the Tempest to chew their way through the defenses. Oracle helping out as well, giving that vision range. So Nightmare can actually see what he's shooting at. ByuN looking for that fateful engagement. He doesn't have the money anymore. There's no money in the bank. Over 9,000 minerals for Nightmare. He's played such a careful game. His army is absolutely... He doesn't even have enough gas. He has 10,000 minerals, but there's no way he's going to have enough gas to replace the sheer technicality. 6,350 Vespene gas in this army of Nightmares. 5575 for ByuN, so he's not really slouching on that. There's only so many minerals left over here. Might as well long distance mine with mules at this point. He's back up to 11 orbitals, that key number. ByuN is mining with mules over here, but Nightmare feeling more confident. A maelstrom of Tempests here. 13 of them. And DT moving in. The cannons, I don't know if they've ever fired. Wow. What a contrast to that game from just a few days ago. Hearthstone versus Glemma, the exact same map, where they mined out the map and lost all the resources on it within, it was under 20 minutes. Whereas here, well, ByuN has definitely lost more, but Nightmare's played such... This is the anti-Hearthstone. Okay, Nightmare. That makes some clever pun on that, but... Where Hearthstone throws away tens of thousands of resources, Nightmare hoards them for later. 10,600 minerals in the Battlecruiser jump. This is it. Here we go. Does he recall? He fires the volley. He's gonna fight outright. Knocking down Battlecruisers with every single shot. Another volley. EMPs across the board. But the storms are holding the line. Nightmare holds his ground. He gives some of it up in order to get the storms out. And the EMPs will land. But Nightmare is able to rebuild. ByuN is not. He waited so long for the tactical dunk. And Nightmare understood his position. I think he realizes he has the money in the bank. That was a sign of desperation. ByuN doesn't have enough. The Battlecruisers are being chipped away. ByuN has 13 minerals in the bank. Oh my, if they could see each other's money, ByuN would have already left the game. But he's long-distance mining from Nightmare's Nexus. Well, this is happening. Some stalkers. Things gonna escalate on this side. ByuN, I don't know how many minerals are left, but only the small, well, the longer patches there. Nightmare is surgically dismantling ByuN. And with the precision of a surgeon, and the patience, and the steady hands indeed. I have not seen a Protoss this confident in late game against Terran. And ByuN took control of the game, I would say, at like the 7-minute mark. And half an hour later, here we are. He didn't try to do that fateful fight where you think you might have an advantage, so you dive and it's not quite enough, and you start... No. The only way to lose is to... Okay, well... Yeah, essentially like that, but 30 minutes ago. That's... Wow. The stars... essentially just keel over. Just implode at the sight of it. ByuN is completely out of gas. That's not a metaphor. There's one Colossus here. Nightmare has an army that's tough to rebuild. ByuN has mules. The income, well, the mules dropped. The Battlecruisers will jump. The amount of volley is lined up. Is it enough? Did he get the Colossus? Well, Nightmare still has gas. He's getting... The Tempest so satisfying when they're actually able to line up those shots. The devastating volleys. Feels like ByuN's been drowning. But he keeps trying to pop up and he just doesn't get enough air. The Colossi. He's fighting. The ground army is pales in comparison. The storms are required. There are still ghosts. Another Battlecruiser crumbles. A Battlecruiser's far too little and too late, which is a weird thing to say about Battlecruisers, but... The Marines, he's got 45 Marines, but the storms. Nightmare is kind of light on the gas, but there's still... Oh, ByuN didn't mind any of it during his temporary residence. There's still 4,500 gas here. That should be enough. Unless ByuN is able to get a critical if he gets the right EMPs and wipes out the Templar, the Marines might be able to run the field. But Nightmare has never offered up enough of a target. The Battlecruisers jump. Recall is not off of cooldown. So he's going to take out this base. Nightmare's going to try to trade it. The Templar coming up. No scan from ByuN. 13, it's 150 to 166 army supply, but we're back to bio. No more capital ships. No more long-range gunships. There is still a nuclear missile, so he's got that going for him. I don't know if ByuN realizes it, or if we'll see it before it's all said and done. But the time is running thin. EMP on the DT at the watchtower. 8 orbitals remain. Planetaries being carved away. Nightmare's starting to run low. The Marines, at the end of the day, the battle is fought with Marines. The ultimate late game unit. He stims forward. The scan, looking for the EMPs on the Templar. The storms, he's just stimming through it. He's trying to stand his ground, but the shield battery overcharge is far too much. And Nightmare holds. ByuN is roasted, melted, and evaporated on the field. And Nightmare ties a ribbon on a beautifully fought, epic game. And that puts him up 1 point. 100 SCVs, 68 Vikings, 9 Battlecruisers, 74 missile turrets. Nightmare, 9 carriers lost, 15 Tempests, 14 High Templar, 90 Stalkers. But such a careful and well-played game. And ByuN is clearly used to those Protoss players who are like, I have 5 bases to 3. I can fight. I can do it. Mm-hmm. That's what, yeah, I have a few hundred balance whining comments to show you, ByuN, if that's what you think. Or Nightmare, rather, in this case. So, the game goes to Nightmare, but the series is still very much in doubt. They're heading to Site Delta. I don't know how you follow that one up. An exhausting experience, but Nightmare, honestly, just played is so cool. And speaking of cool, I want to shout out the Online Sports Championship. Yes, I know how it sounds, but the OSC, this is from their, let me make sure I get it right. Let me, Jimmy, you'll put it in the description. After you like and subscribe, you can unlock the description. Yes, of course. The Online Sports Championship Masters Cup. Online Sports Championship been going on for 10 years in StarCraft 2. Back when Online Sports Championship did narrow it down more than it would today. But has featured some of the best players. On an it's a more rare, it's not a weekly tournament. I believe it's every month, or I think it's every month. I think that sounds right. And then with some larger tournaments throughout the year. So cool to see it. And thank you to Dave Testa for sending it along. What an epic game. Definitely not what I expected when I saw a later game, Terran versus Protoss. The Battlecruisers felt like desperation, which is, it's sad to see. Because most players, most Bronze League heroes at least, Battlecruisers are the first choice, but for ByuN, they were the last one. If they had come out at a time when he had the economy to replace them, maybe. I'm not going to speculate what the answer was, because I've never seen... Usually it's a question of how do you beat the Battlecruisers. The answer apparently is playing a surgical 40-minute game and getting enough Tempests to knock them out of the sky with a single volley. So, write that down somewhere. Alright, Site Delta. This wall-off is not typical. I don't know how intentional that is. I think he's setting it up to defend against Blink Stalkers, but there's no way that's so far off, there's no way that's accidental. It's maybe partially to deal with anything blinking in. Oh, he's waiting for an Oracle. Because ByuN doesn't believe in scouting, because nothing the Protoss could do actually scares him. Oh, he was setting up for the medevac otherwise. Never mind, I take it back. ByuN heading across the map. This time around, Nightmare gonna go 4-gate blink. He's got his build and he's sticking to it. And with the way he's played so far, I don't blame him. As this has been some cool and calculated Protoss. The medevac heading towards the main. Actually, the Stalker's out of position here, though. This is quite an awkward start if he gets the pylon. Oh, no. Oh, no. 1 second. By that much, he gets the blink. Literally 1 second. Oh, my God. That could have been an utter... That was almost a game-losing disaster. Who would just build...
Who does that?
A single pylon, powering such a... Well, a Reaper wall. A liability, more like. But instead of losing his blink and a bunch of Stalkers, he gets the medevac, and he gets 6 Marines alongside him. A huge... Oh my god. So the Cyclone's actually pretty good at killing probes. Like, because it gets a bonus to mechanical because that's how it is. So kills 4 probes, which makes up for some of the failure there. Cyclone only costs as much as a Stalker, by the way. Just in case I'm still kind of myself in the mindset of the Cyclone being quite an expensive unit, but no, costs as much as a Stalker now. If a Stalker gets 4 SCVs, we say, oh my god, was he asleep? If a Cyclone gets 4 SCVs, you should feel the same way. Though, you might be fully awake and the Cyclone still gets in and kills. Raven, what is that? What is that? ByuN. Why are you in the middle of the map finding observers? That was just a happy little accident there, but... Wow. That's so annoying. Get it. I can't believe he got the observer. Just shoots the Raven over to the left side, decides on it. Fortuitous timing. Wow. Another storm rush, or at least relatively rush. But a tank push. The Stalkers on the other side of the map charge is a long way from done. The Raven was feedbacked. Though, the Templar showing value outside of just Storm. ByuN gonna continue forward. Storm is not done. ByuN pre-splitting a bit there. I think he's banking on Storm not being done, and it's gonna pay off. Just a few seconds. He's chrono boosting it, but still a long way off. Stim isn't even there. No medevacs here. Gonna take out a couple gateways. But Storm is now completed. And I think ByuN realizes, yeah, it's not gonna get any easier from here. Retargeting the tanks onto the Stalkers, actually struggling to find a meaningful target here. Can he kill an Archon with Marines? Yeah, he's going for a Stalker. Everything taken out, about as well as that could have gone for Nightmare. Still went poorly, though. Losing his third Nexus. ByuN has a third command center floating over right now. There is no Forge, no upgrades. Storm, or at least Templar, have been revealed. Raven comes back in. Gonna get one. Ooh. Actually, really solid micro to get away there. Just barely for Nightmare. Four Templar on the field. Their escort, their chauffeur, is on the way, the Warp Prism. And the Ghost Academy is completed. There are no ghosts on the field quite yet. Storm is dangerous, but not deadly if you're able to mitigate it. Medevacs do a pretty good job of that. Nightmare, though, he doesn't have vision. That's the difference here. Oh, but the Templar! Massive storms! He retreats into the medevacs, which I guess is the best of a bad situation. And he gets out, but pretty devastating. All the medevacs bruised. All the units inside had to weather it, but at the end of the day, he doesn't actually kill that much. And he uses a lot of his storms to try to get it. Widowmine, I think, killed a Templar in there. Templar holding it home. 3 ghosts on the way. Nightmare without much of an army here, to be honest. The War Prism can help out a bit with that. He's only got 7 gateways. He's now working on +1, but +2 started and ghosts on the way. A single Templar in the Prism. Will Storm. The Vikings, there's only 1 Archon for Anti-Air, which is not enough. Stalkers anticipate. Nightmare is playing ByuN so hard right now. He's anticipating a drop coming through this exact angle. Look at Nightmare's vision. Wow. Once again, doing whatever he can. Doesn't want to get caught off guard again, but ByuN's army is just... there's a lot to deal with here. There are no Colossi. Well, am I right about that? Yeah, RoboBay is done, but no RoboBay units yet. ByuN is working on maxing out. He's working on a 4th command center. He's still got a Raven intact, which means observers could get taken out, and anti-armor missile could definitely be an important part. Storms to hold the hill here. ByuN doesn't have that much vision. Nightmare looks like he wants to outflank. He's only at 63 probes. That it's not low economy, but just keeping the probe count low so we can max out with more army. ByuN coming back to defend. The SCV's trapped in a prison of their own design. One they designed to open and allow them to move. You guys ever heard of a door? Oh, a lot of the gateway units getting bitten off on the way out, though. A costly exchange. Though it did buy Nightmare time to potentially get a Colossus. He's got one. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. If Nightmare can hold it together till he's maxed out, it gets a lot easier to potentially throw these armies at him. But ByuN's about to finish +2. He's still got an army supply lead. The observers are good. But the Bio army, still more than capable of dealing with what Nightmare has on the field. 2 Templar in the prism. Down goes the observer. He spotted the Warp Prism as well. Charge launch 3 upgrade advantage right now for ByuN. About to be drawn down to 2, but still. Oh, EMP onto the prism. Anti-armor missile hits everything, and the rest of the army gonna get hit as well. Nightmare forced to retreat. The storms are okay. The Dorito dusting will last until morale improves, or about 20 seconds. EMP is here. Microing back. Widowmine looking for a connection. Gets it. Bio army up to the north side. But a vanguard of Templar are going to hold the line. And Nightmare partitioning his units so well. The Templar holding the northern side, the Colossi and Charge Launch to the south. It's such a tough thing to do. As if you have just a couple too few units, the Terran army will have the momentum to roll you over. Oh, but the Templar, the beautiful storms, not actually killing that much, but the energy is essentially gone on those medevacs. And they're not even fully done healing the Marines and Marauders. Nightmare gonna chase. ByuN still has a supply lead, so has to be somewhat careful here. Down goes the observer. But Nightmare keeping very careful vision of the map. Widowmines continue. Does he have any? Well, he doesn't have any observers. Oh no. Which makes those Widowmines a lot more dangerous, especially with that Warp Prism. Oh no. Oh no, not like this. Thankfully for Nightmare, it wasn't the Templar Prism, but that's definitely an awkward start to the fight. The EMP lands. Only 1 Templar with energy. 1 Colossus knocked down. Nightmare forced to retreat. Still no observers. Gonna split off a bit of bio, but oh, doesn't even get the merge. ByuN picks off a couple Templar. Nightmare nearly maxed out though. ByuN does have 4 bases pretty comfortably mining. What's in there? Oh, an Immortal loses the prism, though. Fusion Core is on the way. I don't think it's for Battlecruisers this time. This is a Liberator time. Indeed. Advanced Ballistics could make things a lot easier as ByuN. Nightmare doing a laudable job of keeping ByuN at bay. But Nightmare picks up. ByuN picks up and heads to the main. The Templar Archives. And the robotics bay are vulnerable. A scan. There's not enough energy for Storm. The Templar left behind. Nightmare is scrambling. And once you get behind in this sort of engagement, it's going to be very hard to get back ahead. Oh no, ByuN taking out 13 probes. He took out the Nexus. Another army scrambling to chase. These are just gateway units. He could take out the pylon there. He lets the Stalkers warp in. ByuN a little indecisive on what he's targeting. +3 infantry weapons done. And without any Templar here, another army trying to fight. EMPs. The Ghost will finally be taken out. Might be able to target down the Immortal. Doesn't bother with it. But wait, there's more. Jumps into the main with another group of bio units. The medevacs are nearly out of energy. The only saving grace here. +3 Stalkers will be able to target down the rest of the Marauders. But ByuN's momentum has not shifted. The medevacs will escape. And his production is untouched throughout. Nightmare is down to 3 Nexi, only 2 of which are really mining. He's got 52 probes. He has +1 armor on the way, while ByuN's going for building upgrades. Advanced ballistics is in production. The Widow Mine finally taken out. But Nightmare, the cracks are showing. ByuN was able to force the door open, and the medevacs burned through. The Liberators overlapping. There's no way you can go through that. Advanced ballistics is nearly completed by the time he first sees the Liberators. There's already 7 Liberators on the field. I'll be careful with the rally point there. Another one about to be set up onto the 3rd base. I don't know if there's an untouchable location, but it's going to be difficult either way. He's not even bothering with it. Overlapping liberation. Probes. He's actually resetting for a much better advanced ballistics location. The DTs. The Desperation Templar. It looks like he got EMP'd. Nightmare allowing the probes to continue to mine the mineral patches that aren't so vulnerable. DT blink on the way. But ByuN making this game a nightmare for the man himself. He's so careful. He doesn't jump the gun. He doesn't blunk in. He's playing. He's giving himself every opportunity to take advantage of ByuN if he makes a mistake. But ByuN is now in the driver's seat. The Liberators are moving up. That little spot of vision that Nightmare didn't have. And that's where the army is. He covers his back line here with the Liberators. EMP's on the front. The Nexus will die. And where does Nightmare go? He's trying like he's paralyzed here. Not because he doesn't know what to do, but because he just can't quite find an angle to do it. The units are not there. He's got to move up to the north side. The Disruptor shot. He actually gets the hit. It's not remotely close. It's not even in the same zip code as enough. And the Liberators overlapping fire. There's just not enough left. GG. That's enough, Nightmare. We're going to game 3. ByuN. He keeps the momentum again. The winning player grabs the momentum early and never lets go. But I really do have to compliment Nightmare on keeping it together. Just playing so careful. It's not enough there, but playing this methodical style that is, it's incredibly difficult to keep your cool when the medevacs start flying every which way. And he kept ByuN at bay. ByuN is always looking to get the damage done. But Nightmare, right up until he wasn't, keeping him from doing it. So I am surprised, but not disappointed that this series is so close and so relatively evenly matched. Nightmare, definitely. I think making the list of players we got to look out more for. But we're not done. One more to go. Game 3 of this epic experience is going to be on Oceanborn. Bottom right in the blue is ByuN and Nightmare in the top left. Neither player sending out anything early. It is quite a standard map. We've seen longer games on it, for sure. But not as many as Alcyone. Ooh. Even tries to intercept there. The probe taking a lot of damage. Not a single Reaper early out of ByuN, though Nightmare has gone for the Reaper wall in all 3 games. Yeah, something to note. We'll see. 4-gate blink has been the order of the day. A defensive aggression. Okay, the best defense is a good offense, is the way Nightmare has been playing. Making sure to stay right outside ByuN's base whenever possible, in order to catch units, ideally, unprepared. Well, he builds up that right composition for the endgame. Looks like we're going to have a Twilight into Blink yet again. There we are. And he builds them all right up against that Reaper Wall pylon, as we saw. I guess in the end, ByuN did win. So it didn't end up being a deciding factor. But that could have been severely expedited if that pylon had died 1 second earlier. Oh my god. Adeb dies dramatically. Full Scout sees a Hellion, which indicates no reactored factory at this stage. Wait, did he actually? He may have actually seen the top of the ramp. Indeed, he did. Cyclone on the way for ByuN. Blink. Gate number 2. And is it time for a Robo? The defensive shield battery. Gate 3. A pseudo wall here. Not outright wall, but something he could wall off if he'd like. Robotics facility on the way. Another thing I'm noticing is Nightmare not being afraid to cut probes. Making sure that he gets his build out before worrying about having every single worker. Because having those units on the field to deal with the Terran aggression is more than worth it. He's trying to... Wow, ByuN tried to outflank with the medevac. But with the shield battery on the back line. Yeah, this is not going how ByuN wanted it to go. Loses the Cyclone. Blink isn't done, but he didn't need it. The shield battery, incredibly well placed. And the Stalkers will suffer no losses. ByuN lucky to get away with the medevac here. Warp Prism being chrono boosted out, and I think Nightmare feeling a bit more aggressive. He's gotten the damage done. He could potentially do a full blink into the main. Siege tank at the natural right now. Until he has this Warp Prism here, he's not going to have any high ground vision with which to blink. So, just sitting right at the edge. Second siege tank is completed though for ByuN. Very important one. Doesn't quite see the Stalkers there. The bunker going to be done just barely in time. 2 siege tank, far too many. 1 is pushing it, 2 is a definite no-go. Picks up into the prism, looking for that dual prong blink pressure. Enough Marines. Oh, he blunks at the rest. He escalates things. And honestly, recognizing his opportunity there. Well done by Nightmare. He's going to get a lot of damage here. Now, can he keep it together and pull that just as important as getting in is pulling out? Words of wisdom here. But he has, yes, and he gets out just as the siege tank. Siege is up. An observer in place. Nightmare is playing so meticulous here. Honestly, I feel like we're seeing so many shades of Protoss. Wait, Rainer's pinpoint aggression, but definitely a much more aggressive style. Oh, Nightmare with some surgical zoning defense. And Harstum with Brawler Toss are some of the last ones. And Hero, who knows with Hero? Rolls the dice every day. Some of the best and worst micro, all in one package. Nightmare, though. Keeping it up. The thing is, so, while this looks really good, you kind of got to adjust your expectations. As Nightmare only has 50 probes, he just now got his 3rd Nexus. He is relying on this level of aggression to keep ByuN busy until he can get, well, ideally Storm yet again. This is the first time I've seen a Protoss not only try Storm, but that is his go-to choice. It's not Colossi or Disruptors or even Stargate and Charge Lots. Straight up Storm, all 3 games. But the medevacs are here. Recall is ready. Storm is not quite there yet, but Charge very importantly is. Not bothering with recall, the Stalkers are here. Feedback on one of the medevacs finishes it off. Stalkers blinking back. They won't last long against this. But the Storms come to clean things up. And he doesn't quite have the blinks to chase it down. But a big timing there. The Templar Prism turns it around. And now ByuN in a bit of an awkward spot. He has combat shield. He has the full triple threat. Stim, combat shield, and +1. But with Storm on the field, Scan knocks out the Observer. But Nightmare, sensing his opportunity, will try to move forward. The Templar, oh, be very careful. The Storms are good. The Vikings are taken out. And now, oh, there goes a medevac. And with the Warp Prism surviving this engagement, he can bring in more charge lots, and that could certainly turn the tides on Oceanborn. The Templar waiting for their moment, but they might not even be needed as ByuN is battered back to his bunker here. 6 SCVs down, and he still has the Prism. Oh god, that's so important. Nightmare taking a 4th Nexus throughout this. Defending it with such aggression. Looking for a Storm. Fires a volley of them across. Maybe gonna try it onto the bunker. Takes out the bunker. But again, Nightmare dips a toe in. ByuN is pushed back to his natural. 68 probes now for Nightmare. Only 7 gates, adding on an 8th. But he pulls back. The damage done. He maybe could have ended the game. He maybe had enough. But it's a big maybe. A strong flashing lights neon maybe. ByuN dodges the Stalker shot as Nightmare blinks out. I think ByuN gets the better end of that one. But what a little micro exchange there. Beautifully done. ByuN still very, very dangerous. But Nightmare now has Colossi. He still has the Prism. He has upgrades on the way, and he's got a 4th base completed. This cold and calculating Protoss still in a good... I wouldn't put him in a winning position. Not at this stage. But he's got opportunity. It depends on the Storms. If the Colossi are able to get it done. Juggling back. Gotta be very careful with that Prism, which already was bruised earlier. Got one more Storm in the bank. The Colossus is revealed. Widowmine takes out a wave of charge lots moving in, though. That's a lot of bio for one Colossus to handle. That bio ball, he has to chew through it. A Storm would be very welcome here. Still fighting. Okay, Storm. The ghosts have arrived, though. Nightmare. Gotta be very careful not to bite off more than he can chew. Colossus could be dodged into the Prism. Micro's back. Some more EMPs. The medevacs are actually out of energy. And the Archon, whoa, wait a second. Recognizing the medevacs aren't really healing here. Beautiful Micro. Juggling the Colossus back, but there's not that many more units. The Colossus still doing the damage. Oh, and a Storm. But it's just Colossus and Templar. He needs to get that Prism, but he can't get it. The Prism who lived. 18 SCVs down. And Nightmare. He was on the precipice of defeat. But he skydives gracefully into the river of potential victory. I keep thinking, like, the supplies, though, but then Nightmare warps in. 8 more Stalkers. ByuN, well, he's doing a Colossus drop. That seems a bit optimistic. Let's not get too crazy here. But he hasn't... He's been playing so careful, but he's just about even. He's on the bleeding edge of too fancy right now. This is a game, like, you've been playing near perfect against ByuN. Both games, I would say. Oh my. But if he keeps the Prism alive, I guess it's okay. Meanwhile, moving out with the army. Oh no. Well, there goes the Prism. But the Colossi is still doing a lot of damage here. ByuN's piecemeal army and a bunch of zealots into the third. Losing the Prism hurts, but losing most of your army hurts more. Ask ByuN here. The zealots are slicing through, and the supply gap widens. 20 more SCVs down, plus 1 armor is done, and that gives Nightmare an upgrade advantage. There's just not much left. Nightmare has put together a beautiful series, a 40-minute game against Battlecruisers and 100 missile turrets, and an incredibly careful set against the Bio army. Nightmare comes out with a 2-1 victory against ByuN. Wow. Well, that certainly, I think, should put him on everyone's radar. And that wasn't a fluke. That was a decisive and methodical victory. Even the game he lost was more than... That was some of the... Still, in losing, he looked incredibly impressive. Okay, Nightmare. You have my attention. Well, I look for more Nightmares in the future. And I hope you do as well. Thank you to Dave Tasta and the Online Sports Championship for giving me this kind of a hidden game, somewhat. Or hidden series, rather. I certainly hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership, but I hear liking and subscribing is still free. For now. Thank you for watching. Make sure autoplays on one of the right videos, or just pick from the recommended. That's a huge deal. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.